call to order the City of Rochester's regular City Council meeting for October 9th, 2017. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalden.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
Vixen. Cuthbertson.
Here.
Jocanelli.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to take a moment of silence and recognize in honor of the people of Las Vegas for the victims and their families. Thank you. At this time, I would like to bring up the Boy Scout Troop 125 to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please come forward. Please rise. Boys, if you would lead.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'll stay there, boys. I will go ahead and read the proclamation. Presentation of a resolution recognizing and honoring Boy Scout Troop 125 for 60 years of service. Whereas Troop 125, Boy Scouts of America, has continually served the city from 1957 to 2017. Whereas having provided service to the community throughout the city, providing several thousands of hours of community service at a multitude of community events and locations, including several SCORE Eagle projects for, in, and around the city. And whereas engaged over 1,300 youth in developing youth leaders and responsible citizens. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Rochester hereby recognizes, honors, and thanks Troop 125, Boy Scouts of America, and its charter organization, the Rochester Community House Incorporated, for 60 years of outstanding and dedicated service to the citizens and the City of Rochester, Michigan. Congratulations. Next, I will do a presentation of a resolution recognizing Fire Prevention Week. I don't think the fire chief is here. Thank you.
He's out preventing fires.
Yes, that is true. Whereas the City of Rochester, Michigan is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Rochester. And whereas the 2017 Fire Prevention Week theme, Every Second Count, Plan 2 Ways Out, effectively serves to educate the public about the vital importance of developing a home fire escape plan with all members of the household and practicing it twice a year. Therefore, I, Kathy Dalden, Mayor of the City of Rochester, do hereby proclaim October 8th to the 14th, 2017 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this community. I urge all people of the City of Rochester to find and develop a home fire escape plan with all members of the household and practice it twice a year. Thank you.
We have to pass it on.
Thank you. Next, we have miscellaneous public comment. If you would like to come forward and make your comment, now would be the appropriate time to do it. I don't know if I should say it's a first or not, but thank you. Next, I have approval of the minutes, a consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting of September 25th, 2017.
So
I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson, support by the Mayor Pro Tem. I have the Mayor Pro Tem, then Councilmember Peterson to make any adjustments.
Yes, on page 3 of 8, when it says Russell asked if we were having 2 motorcycles will be essential. In the conversation that this was the second motorcycle was a replacement motorcycle, and there was no replacing the original motorcycle. It was just being used for training or something to that language. And then also on page 8, middle, kind of in the middle, when we're talking about the DPW, the roof, we also talked about the warranty. I'd like the warranty in the minutes. I think it was 10 years, but I'm not sure the exact time. And then on page 9, Russell spoke about the scope of RARA's mission, and the core of the mission was recreation, and I'd like to have that in part of that language.
That's, okay. And
Yep.
Councilmember Peterson, you had some additions?
Yep, just at the bottom of page 6 or page 1 of the minutes, where Steve Zook spoke, it actually, he spoke, and it should, at the end, it says the DDA tax capture. He spoke of the DDA distribution of the tax capture of the of new residential developments in downtown, which are mixed use.
Any other adjustments to the minutes? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Jovenelli,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Next, I have approval of the consent agenda. We have 3 items. A is appointment of election workers for the November 7th, 2017 general election. Item B is receipt of the check register report. And item C is consideration of and approval of water main easement for Cedar Brook project.
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson to approve. Do I have support?
Support.
By the Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion on the 3 items?
I have one question. On the check register, on the FICA, shoot, I can't find it. The FICA, where is it at? It's on the back page, kind of middle, the 941 department. The FICA, is that for, it just seems like a lot for FICA for 1 month. Is that for like I'm on the last page. So it's page 2. It's like middle page, item 118128.
37,861 or 661,
Yep.
861.
861. I mean, maybe it's for a quarter, I mean, that's just a
Right
lot,
under the elevator on page.
it's just a lot for FICA.
So it's actually both. So with our current software, it's Rochester 941 and then deposit for FICA. So I'm going to actually have to pull up to see, but it looks like when there's a slash between the two, it's not just for FICA.
Okay.
There's 2 different items there. So I don't know. I would have to pull up the actual bill. I'd be happy to do that if we wanted to pause this one for later on this evening. I can pull that because these are still on my desk.
Okay, well, it just says 941 and 941, so I want to
Yeah.
make sure that that's distributed correctly.
Sure.
So I'm, if we want to hold it till the end so we can take a look, because that's, I don't know, that something's wrong if that's just FICA. It seems to be, to me anyways.
Councilmember Jovenelli.
Thank you. Free CPA counseling
Thank you.
available. So 941 is the tax deposit for federal withholding and the employer-employee share of FICA, so it wouldn't be unusual to be
It
that
wouldn't be.
high. Yeah, because it's federal withholding for all the employees plus the employer and employee share of FICA. of
For
Social
1
Security.
month?
Yep.
I'd have to look at the other
Okay.
ones, but mine's that every week, so or twice that every week. So
Councilmember
You have
Cuthbertson.
probably double the employees.
all right, yeah.
Did you?
Yes, approving the consent agenda, including the check register reports, is a change in our practice. And I wonder what drove that. And, because typically we don't have, an executive function inside of the city's administration. So approving a check register would seem to imply that, we're paying the bills here, even ratifying the actions paying these bills. So this is a legislative step that I'm unfamiliar with, and I'd like to understand it.
Sure. I think it was 2 agendas ago, our finance director talked with our auditor and felt that this was the appropriate place in our agenda to have it in consent. I'd be happy to talk with our auditor to have her write maybe a more thorough explanation.
I'd like that, thank you.
Yeah, that sounds, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call the vote on this, Madam Clerk, with, should
Well,
I,
are we, what?
do you want to?
Did you wanna wait?
Did you
Well,
want to approve?
Not necessarily. I
Okay.
mean, if the CPA of the city
Well,
council up here is.
I'm not vouching
satisfied
for the
with
number, I'm just telling you what the process is.
Okay.
I don't get paid enough for that.
So are we moving forward with approval of A,
Yes,
B, and
that's
C?
fine.
Okay, Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Govanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Next, we have a public hearing. A public hearing regarding the removal of a landmark tree located at 1220 Pine Street. Mr. City Manager.
I'm going to pull up on the screen. My Nick's actually going to start talking.
What we'll do is I'll have you do the opening. I'll open the public hearing, then close the public hearing, and council can deliberate. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, council. Last meeting, council set tonight as the set aside time for a public hearing to be noticed for the request of the folks developing Pine Knoll. Mr. Jake Bolliard is here behind me. He is the new owner of the property at Pine Knoll. It was previously owned by another group, Diamond Enterprises, that took it through the process of the planning commission and then went into default with the church who owned the property, and Mr. Bolliard now is the owner of what we call the Pine Knoll property, which is 8 homes that were approved under the Condominium Act. They were approved for development, and it had a development agreement and lots of conditions on it, which we're not here to talk about tonight. But in that presentation at the planning commission, another discussion of a lot of trees on the property. So not knowing exactly where all the homes were going to lay out, other than the actual footprints of the buildings, the planning commission talked about tree replacement, how many trees were supposed to be saved initially, all pending engineering review, and then finally, part of my job is when someone comes in on development, like comes in with a development like this, to go out to the site, look at the trees. We looked at every single tree, and one tree stood out, and it's this 30 inch. At the time, it was 30 inch. Now I believe it's 30.5 inches. It's been since 2013, so the tree continues to grow. That you see in orange right there, which is a red oak. So I went out, did my evaluation of it. It came out a landmark tree. Easily came out a landmark tree. And in the discussion with the planning commission, they said, hey, save it. There's no reason not to save that tree. And at that time, if you remember back to, I guess it would be Ferndale Street, where we literally did the same thing to a home and said, save the tree. It's a landmark Norway spruce. And that person came for a hearing and fought, and we said, no, we're going to keep it. So being consistent, as the city council was, we heard that request, denied it. The tree still stands today, and it's very close to the home, and it worked out fine. So when Mr. Bolliard came in with the engineering group, and we're thankful that he's involved now, it looks like things are going to get going finally, because it's been a long time. They started doing engineering. We met with Shannon. We met with AEW to look at how we could least impact a lot of things on that site, where there are other trees we could save, et cetera. But then we came down to, Mr. Bolliard, that tree is a landmark tree. It can't come down unless there's a public hearing and city council makes that decision. So he understood that. We went in the field. We tried to move utilities as far away as we could to the north, which would be closer to the Pine Knoll Lane. It's a private drive. There's sanitary water going through there. A lead has to eventually go through and across near the tree to get to a building site that you see next to the tree. There was a home on the site. If you visited the site, you see a depression in the ground. There was a home with a basement there. And so that tree's lived through all of that. We had a discussion, and as Mr. Bolliard looked into the minutes, et cetera, it said, well, the planning commission actually put a value of $4,200 to the tree. And if something were to happen to that tree, that would be the price to remove it. So we talked about it. He said, I have the right to ask to bring it down. I'll let him explain the theory behind it. We had hours, I think, of talking about this, but which led us to tonight. So I think it would be appropriate to open a public hearing, then let Mr. Bolliard explain the reason behind the request.
Thank you. So I will go ahead and open the public hearing. Does anybody like to come forward for the public hearing?
If it's on their property, I guess my position would be they should be able to
do what they want to do with it. I'm not a person who puts property rights or tree rights over property rights. So that's my position on it.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you, Ms. Douglas.
and it seems that an awful lot of people get to cut trees down when other people don't, and, you know, it's kind of strange. I don't see a pattern that's consistent in the community, and you really ought to take a look at that.
Thank you. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, there was some. If you could please state your name for the record, sir?
Yes. I'm Paul Wintermantle.
Thank you.
I live up on Glendale. And probably at the bottom of the diagram there, where Pine Street comes, there's Nash, then my house, and then Dunn's. So I see all the activity going. I've lived there since 1950, and I've seen, I'm the last person on the block of the old time. Regarding this, and I was kicking this around in my head, at the back of our lot is an old apple tree, still remaining from the time when it was all farmland. Every year, that thing blooms. What will be gained if that tree is removed? And of course, new homes, we understand, would take the place. What is accomplished? Other than another 30, 40 years down the road, somebody said, well, yeah, it's the same thing I've envisioned. The trees that I planted take the place of what my father did. Leave the tree as be. Build around it. It can be done.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jake Bolliard. I own Bolliard Lumber Company on Rochester Road. I'm a third generation in the lumber business, and I tell you, I love trees myself. I really do. Nothing better than going out west and seeing the big virgin redwood trees. In this case here, I bought the property, and if we could save the tree, I'd like to save the tree. And we had a conversation about the tree. I took the next effort and went to J.H. Hart, and I think you saw in your packet the letter that they wrote. And two things that comes to my mind. In my business, safety is the key. I try and run a good operation. I keep my equipment in good shape. And when a mechanic tells me that the truck's got to go off the road, it isn't safe, the truck goes off the road. In this case here, the tree is going to be lose 60% of its roots. And after I got the letter from J.H. Hart, I know Judd Hart, and I called him up. He said the chance of that tree surviving is 10%, and his biggest concern is the safety of that tree losing the roots. A big wind, if it blows over, hits a house, or maybe hits a pedestrian. And I mentioned to Nick, I have no problem in working on arrangement, whatever kind of trees you want planted in the sub. I don't have a problem doing that. But my biggest concern is the safety factor, and that chance of that tree surviving is about a 10% factor. So with that, it's your call what you want to do. I'll support either way you want to do it, but I couldn't live with myself if that tree fell over and killed somebody. I don't want to take that responsibility, but if you want to leave the tree, we'll leave the tree. But in my case, how I run my business, I don't like to put it on black in Vegas. I would rather just take the tree down and work some out with the city, and we'll replant more trees and put money in the fund. I don't care, whatever you want to do.
All right, thank you. Any other comments on the public hearing?
I agree with this gentleman.
with that. I had a heritage catalpa tree in my front yard that had a girth about 3-4 feet wide. It was 88 years old, which was really quite spectacular for a catalpa. And half of the roots were cut off when I was in the hospital, and the developer came in and what another person that I had out called butchered my tree. And he said what will happen usually is they will get waterlogged and lightning will hit them. And within 3 years, it was hit by lightning. And it had to be totally removed. So I
Right,
can see
thank
where
you.
he's coming from, and I do agree with what he's saying.
Thank you. Any other comment for the public hearing? Any correspondence, Madam Clerk? Well, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Council. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just like to clarify for the audience and my colleagues that when this particular site condominium application was presented to the Planning Commission back in 2013, I attended the church that sold the property to the original developer at the time. And had previously served as a trustee of the church, and so I thought it better not to vote on the matter. This was over 4 years ago. That transaction has since closed, and this is a matter of record in terms of the Planning Commission's motion, and so I just wanted to note that I have every intention of speaking on the merits of the discussion tonight, but just to clarify that. As to the merits, having sat through all the Planning Commission discussions, I can tell you that retention and preservation of the tree and undertaking all good faith actions to do so was the substantive requirement for approval of the site condominium development as one of the conditions of approval. We do have a landmark tree ordinance and historic tree ordinance that relates to trees of an extraordinary character, of species of particular value and note, and this tree, of course, met those standards at the time and continues to at present. The city, I think, has had a more recent history in upholding that ordinance in a smart way. I appreciate Mr. Bolliard's remarks this evening. I can only say that I don't agree with the request for a number of reasons. The first of which is probably the least important is that this was a condition of approval at the Planning Commission, and we would in some ways be modifying the Planning Commission's requirements with taking this action. But leaving that procedural sort of concern aside, I'm not sure placing a house 6 feet from the center line of the tree is compliant with the idea of preserving the tree. The Planning Commission did not approve the footprints of the homes. So where this house is placed is entirely the decision of the developer. And placing it so close to the tree, in essence, creates a part of the challenge that we face here. And so I think that's a matter that should be noted. As it relates to the utilities, I'm fairly confident that certainly at least the water, which is a really inexpensive piece of pipe, can be somewhat routed around a particular tree at virtually no cost. I'm not an engineer and can't speak necessarily to the sewer connection, but it seems like shifting that one way or another wouldn't be all that difficult. But moreover, adjusting the placement of the house to give the tree some breathing room is, I think, inherently possible here and would be consistent with what the Planning Commission had originally envisioned in approving the entire site condominium layout. So for those reasons, I would, of course, respectfully decline to want to move forward with overturning the Planning Commission's, I think, sound judgment here. And I think I'd also challenge administration to take a look at the footprint of the home and determine whether that in and of itself complies with both the letter and the spirit of the motion that's been undertaken. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other, any other comments on this item? Councilmember Ray?
Thank you. I guess my only question or comment, I'm not sure that it can be properly answered this evening, is, if there is some measure to the test of, conditionally approving the project with the preservation of tree in mind, is there a way to be able to demonstrate if that test was met? Or, I certainly don't know from the Planning Commission's perspective if there's, or with even just in the general realm of things, if, to what degree were steps taken with the preservation of tree in mind, understanding that the Planning Commission didn't approve where the building goes. Is there some test that can be applied, or at least maybe to the contrary, demonstrated for all these reasons why we couldn't move the building a foot in this direction or a foot in that direction, something that bridges the divide between the request for a good faith effort to save the tree and then someone's interpretation of what is a good faith effort, and if there's a difference between those.
Well, it was.
Can anybody?
Yeah, it was 4 years ago that the decision was made. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was a landmark tree. That is why the Planning Commission.
And I'd also add that there are mature trees on the site. A number of them are being removed.
Mhm.
And that in the broader interest of, trying to preserve some meaningful large trees on the site, that this was a part of that more generalized consideration of the significant number of trees being removed. So it wasn't just this tree, it was this tree in the context of others being taken down.
So the site was, obviously, it always is on planning, the site is considered as a whole. You look at the site on its whole entirety and decide what you're going to keep. I know that we've done this in the past. The city has a tree ordinance, and we have been very consistent up here with protecting the canopy of the city. And I think, to me, that's where it goes back to, is when we ruled on the one tree and they moved the house and accommodated it. And the goal of the tree ordinance is to protect the canopy. We are a tree city. And I know sometimes it's hard, we have some tough decisions to make. For my part, that is the protection, and in spirit of the ordinance, I think we should be consistent. Did you have something,
Yes, Madam
Councilmember
Mayor.
Peterson?
Well, for one, it is a red oak, and we are known for the oaks here in the area. It's hard to see the layout of this here and whether or not suggestions could be made regarding the building positioning to try to save the tree. I guess the hardest time I have is every time we have a tree like this come before us, we have the ordinance that clearly states that we can't cut down the tree, okay? But we always find a way that it states that, if the tree were to be damaged during demolition, blah, 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 okay, then it will end up coming down. And I don't think it's fair to the developer or to us up here to have to sit here and make that decision like that. I think consistency is important for this here. And my whole suggestion would have been to see if we could actually move that to make it more beneficial anyhow, and maybe have it look a little, not so, cookie cutter with everything there. But that's one of my main things. I know you can't always move water and sewer lines, but if the building was moved, maybe it would generate that there too. If we didn't have this ordinance in effect, I would be more than happy, but I don't think it's fair that we have to make that decision based on what we have here. If this wasn't a total landmark tree, it'd be totally different, and all the other 159 are coming out. Is that true? Yeah, 159 inches. There's 64 trees coming out, 32 to do that. So, and in fairness to those in the community who have been fined for taking trees out of their property, that because they didn't pull a permit or something, we have to find a balance here, and I think we have to really look long and hard to make it to where the developers don't have to come in here feeling like they're, a lose-lose situation just because of the ordinance. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Any other discussion? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yep. I mean, this is difficult because we're losing 64 trees. We have I think it's around 64 trees. We are losing our canopy to development, and that's part of our, it's a give and take. And then safety was an issue at the Ferndale development when Lombardi, I think, did that, the
Lombardo,
Wicklands home. Lombardo?
Yes.
Did the Wicklands home, and now the neighbors love the tree, and it brings value. When you have this kind of canopy, you can't replace these trees that are this beautiful. That's why we have an ordinance. How was this reconfigured from the original? So we knew that this was part of the planning commission, so in our packet, we have nothing that says, well, the house was reconfigured this way, that way. What steps have taken place? This looks like the original one from 4 years ago. There's been no reconfiguration, at least in our packet.
If I may, so when this was approved, we don't have a site condo ordinance. That was part of the problem. Most communities have something they call attached single-family documents or cluster developments, they call them, or condominium association. So we had to kick back to the state law, which said we had the right to put reasonable conditions on the site plan. If I remember right, and again, this is before Mr. Boyer owned this, we looked at, like you said, in an entirety, and we knew there was 8 lots that could be built. We didn't pick the building envelope. The planning commission did not do that. Because a condominium, it's a lot, and it doesn't have standard setbacks like 5 feet on one side, 10 feet on the other. But I think when this got laid out and in the condo documents, they tried to make it, they were trying to balance, don't look different than the rest of the area, which is standard 25 feet front, 35 feet rear, 5 and 10. So you can see the envelopes are right in a row. They were trying that. So they have the latitude under the Condominium Act to move that envelope around and not be subject to our conditions of 5 feet, 10 feet, 25, 35. Mr. Boyer and I have not talked about that. I know they're trying to keep them pretty traditional, lined up, front to front, not one house tucked way back. They'd have to redo the condo documents because I believe in the documents they showed the footprints, which came after the planning commission approval. So the only way to slide that house around would be to change the condo documents to move the footprint back. So that, I assume, unless Mr. Attorney, you'd see it differently. I think that's the way to do it. And it would be up to Mr. Boyer if he wants to do that or not. But yeah, there you go. So
And when he took over this property or bought it or however he came to acquire it, knew that tree was on there and it was a landmark tree. So it's obvious that.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions from council and an action that needs to be taken this evening?
Well, Madam Mayor.
Yes,
I want to thank the developer for taking over this project because I think it's fitting over there as well. I think it would look nice in that area for more walkability over there. And I don't feel like to have to give you direction as to, change buildings and such like that, but I don't want to deny either. But with the ordinance, we have to, I feel.
Yeah, Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you. I feel compelled to say something. Everybody else has spoken on the matter. So, I appreciate you coming in this evening and presenting us with this opportunity to review the matter. We've been fairly consistent on this, time and time again, so I'll be voting the same way this time as well. The big thing for me, or really two things. Number one, we're losing so many trees in this parcel to begin with. That was a huge issue for me. And then secondarily, now hearing that we haven't had a chance to take a cut at a Plan B yet. At this point, I'd be making a motion to deny the request, and then would encourage the developer to reach out to his folks and to the Planning Commission and have it go back to planning and come back this way.
Okay. I have a motion by Councilmember Giovanelli. Do I have support on the motion?
Support.
Support by Councilmember Ray. Any other discussion on the motion? Councilmember Cuthbertson. Bless you.
Yeah, I'll only say that the the buildings can be reconfigured or configured in any way that the developer chooses without planning commission approval.
Right.
Okay.
You know, if someone wants to come back to the planning commission to try to amend the site condo to remove this tree, okay, I guess we could get into that loop. But, you know, again, the placement of the road, I even think the fire chief worked with the original developer on I don't want to use, I want to say in a proactive manner for what could have been a very large turnaround on the east end. There were all kinds of pretty good faith attempts to accommodate the original site condo here, and really the primary coming the other way was, look, this is a landmark tree. Do what's necessary to save it. So it's not like this is some burden that's been placed upon a developer in the scheme of the whole plan. It was a very modest ask on behalf of the Planning Commission to attach a reasonable condition to approval. So this isn't a situation where considerable latitude has been given under the act as an original matter. So I'm confident that shifting the building envelope and perhaps tweaking the bay area of one house to give the tree a little bit of room and to move the utilities somewhat is entirely within the power of the developer at a fairly modest cost. I represent folks who do this, and quite candidly, the modest amount of money that's involved usually is best invested in trying to make the neighborhood a place that seems like it's been there longer. And large trees are very unique in their ability to do that. So I'll support the motion for purposes of the outcome, and I guess encourage administration and the developer to take a cut at a Plan B before the cut is at the tree, so to speak. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, Councilmember Bixson.
Yeah, I apologize. I was not part of the conversation. I think there's times when trees can be cut down if there's not any way around some major development potentially. But I think this one, from my take on it, and again from the past, I think there's still ways to maybe work around it and still save it. So I will also vote yes on this motion.
Great. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Giovanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we will go to legislative deliberation. I have item A, consideration of a recommendation from the Planning Commission to adopt a resolution to engage McKenna Associates as consultants to assist the city planner. Mr. Deputy City Manager Banda.
Thank you, ma'am. For the last 6 weeks, we've been kind of talking about what our next steps are in this process of assisting the Planning Commission and City Council, and actually the residents of the community, to understand the pressures that the great city of Rochester right now is having development-wise. This is like a great story that just needs to become ripe before we can move forward. The Planning Commission has had rather unusual circumstances where developers are coming in with big projects, and before they spend a ton of money on the details, they come in and run it by the Planning Commission, which, because we don't have study meetings, just like council doesn't have study meetings, we've encouraged developers, take the extra 30 days, let's talk about the concept and what it means so the Planning Commission can digest it and then make deliberation on facts, right? So it's got to the point now where these are big projects. So we've talked about this a couple of times, I think even on TV, but I'll just give you a couple of examples. So a development of 200 units or 100 units has a bunch of ramifications to it, right? It's traffic, it's trips generated per household. It depends how old the folks are that live there, what's their profile of who they're trying to sell their product to. If it's office, it's how many square feet, how many people per square feet, who's the company in the square feet of office, because a call center can have every 15 square feet, they can have a body in that office, or somebody can make it their corporate headquarters and have 2 people in the same space. You could have 50. And so they're trying to think their way through all of this, because the burden we have on our community is all of our arteries, if you will, the roads, we can't widen them. In most greenfield situations or in most suburbs, you can say to a developer, you're bringing in X amount of traffic. Our intersections get evaluated on a traffic impact study. They give them a rating on the system, say it's a C. There's A, B, C, D, E, F. D, E, F means you're noticing that you're messing up your flow during commutes. The developer then can plug that in and say, here's the ramifications of my trip generations, for one instance, and how do they interact with the folks that are in a walkable downtown, making turns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a detailed study. In itself, one development can usually find a way to say, I know you can't widen 2nd Street or 3rd or 4th or Letica or Parkdale or Romeo or Main Street. We're stuck with what we are stuck with. It's prudent to the Planning Commission and to this body that we look at the aggregate of everything that could happen here. And I talked about this before. It's not just about Rochester. We have met already with Oakland Township and Rochester Hills' planning folks and said, what are you guys doing? Because we get the burden of Shelby. I'm going to use the word burden at first and then soften it. The burden of the traffic of Shelby, Rochester Hills, Oakland Township. We also get their dollars coming to support our downtown and support us other ways, our retailers. Again, we have to analyze that and decide when is enough. One of the developers probably put it the best when he said, I'm hurrying my project because I don't want to be the last one in. Because you're probably going to say it's too much and you're going to say no. And we've tried to tell them we're not going to say no just to say no. We're going to analyze it and try to figure it out. So the Planning Commission asked for City Council to consider an overall economic impact analysis. This isn't a study. We can count cars and we can figure all that good stuff out. But when you make a decision on a development, the good side of it is tax base. So let's say we can bring in $2 to $3 million a year more to the general fund if 80% of these new projects that are on the horizon were approved. That's pretty cool. That keeps tax base down, keeps the burden off the taxpayers, helps us pay for infrastructure, but there's a cost to it. It could be traffic congestion. It could be people get burned out on what we're becoming. And everybody wants to balance that. The only way to balance it is to have a community-wide look. And Mr. John Jackson's here from McKenna. They are our planners. They do this all the time. We just don't happen to use them to their full capacity. We have Vidya Christian, who's basically our city planner. Between her and John, they know the city as good as anybody. They're awesome. We can engage their company, and they have a whole group of consultants on their staff that are traffic engineer people, economic impact study people, and we can put that package together at a cost. So the cost is $56,300. We told the developers, we talked to McKinnon and said, we can't drag this out for a year. It's not fair to us to make decisions. It's not fair to the developers to be on stall that far. So at this time, if you'd come up and just talk a little bit about what's part of this. It's much more than just traffic. It's the whole domino effect. We did a master plan over the last 3 years, and it started with the parking study that said, what would you need if you built out your whole development, your whole downtown, based on what the new zoning classifications probably are going to be. And we have those numbers. So a lot of this background is done, and they did it. So that's good. So now it's reality. Now it's like, hey, the decks are built. We have the parking management system in place. Now in comes that next step. We're starting to fill in. What does that mean? And what do we need to make good decisions? We certainly can do this on our own. I don't have the expertise or the time to do this. It's a thick document that needs to be vetted with the community, with the Planning Commission, with the City Council, all together in a quick manner. And I believe that McKenna can do that. John, if you would, Madam Mayor, let John explain a little bit about this.
Thank you, John.
Wow. Thanks, Nick, for that introduction. Just taking a quick step back. When we did the master plan, we knew this time would come. And as part of that, we had in the implementation section the fact that we needed to have some kind of evaluation system in place. And we looked at examples like LEAD for neighborhood development, which analyzes a full range of impacts of new development, from traffic to housing values and prices. We've talked a lot about that over the, since that plan has been adopted. What are the impacts in terms of the ratio of rental versus ownership? What are the opportunities for missing middle housing? And so this project would help us sort of quantify the impacts of certain indicators, so that when a project came in, we could quickly plug in the numbers and see what the impacts are going to be. There's a whole lot of other policy questions that are going to come up. Okay, once we know what the impacts are, what do we want to do? Once we can evaluate these impacts, how are we going to modify the parking or the traffic, or how do we want to manage the mix of land uses? For example, right now, most people drive out of Rochester for their job. So we're going to get a whole lot more residential development, all of whom are going to be driving out of town. And so that means there's going to be a lot more traffic here. So are there other opportunities for different mix of land uses so that not everyone has to drive out of town? So those are some of the questions that are going to come up. But when we did the master plan, we knew that it would have to be quantified. So this project is going to help us quantify those impacts, evaluate projects, and help give policy direction.
So can I give an example? Because
Please.
I've been thinking about this a lot, because I
Yep.
said I'm planning and I talked about it at the DDA. So somebody wants to build a project at, let's say, Square A. And they come in and they say, I want 100 units. And we're going to say, 100 units isn't going to work there. And it's not going to work there because of A, B, and C. I don't care how much it costs, because cost is not the important factor here. What is the impact on the neighborhood? What is the impact on the utilities? What is the impact on the fire and the police? So for me, you can say, 80 units is a better fit. Or if you had office, so they're there during the day and not there in the
Right.
evening, because that's what we need. Because everybody wants to come in and build. I mean, I sit on planning and these people come in and it's like, whoa, time out here. And they want to meet with you and they want to tell you about what they're doing, which is great. But we need information, we need data, we need background, and we have to look at this, as I say every time, holistically. So is that like
That's
an
the
example?
purpose of this project.
Okay.
Yep.
So in simple terms, thank you. Councilman, you know what, I'm going to make sure that I don't miss it. Did anybody have a question or an audience comment real quick? I'd like you to come up, and then we'll go to council, if that's
Fine.
Yep.
Thanks. Dean Bavacqua, 872 Aspen Drive. Out speaking with folks in my campaigning, I noticed there's a lot of anxiety out there regarding commercial development. So I think this is a great idea to try to get ahead of it. I was very excited when I heard you guys were looking into an outside study. A little concerned over perhaps perceived impartiality in terms of using McKenna for this. And I want to know if there was any thought of going outside our city planners company.
Sure.
That's my first question. If you want to answer.
Do you want me to-
Go
yeah,
ahead.
So there's two ways to do it. It's not all about price, but it's about institutional knowledge. So we sowed our seeds 8 years ago, 7 years ago, and we hired them to do the master plan. Every community, you stay with your horse that developed the document, because this isn't looking for new ideas. This is to, like John said, to quantify. So they have all the background that built the model, which would be more efficient financially. And when they got hired on, they always told us, we're here for you for total service. So we were very comfortable with them. Their contract every 5 years is looked at, and they've survived 2 cuts already.
So that would be, when the contract would come up, we'd look at them again. So this is just
Absolutely.
an extension of a service that we already received.
And it's-
And I think the institutional knowledge,
And it's a great question.
It
because,
is a
of course,
good
that's a lot of
question.
money. We get that. So we
But
did
yes.
talk about that.
and then you have a second question.
Okay, yeah, I was also, it kind of jump off your point too. I don't see anything in here that specifically talks about stress on city services, police, fire, DPW. Environmental, I don't know if those
Exactly,
are
yep.
things that
It
need to be
is.
added to this, or if that's,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Good point.
Okay.
that's all I got.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments? And then I'll go to council. Thank you.
Just a quick one. I remember reading the parking study that was done for Rochester, and it did not recommend that we have a parking structure like we have downtown. And the majority in this city ignored it. And so, are you really gonna get hard data, and are you really gonna analyze it, and are you really gonna look at it, or are you gonna just say, okay, we did it,
Thank
and
you.
move on?
Thank you.
That's a concern.
Can I say, and I don't disagree with that. That was a different company that did that. And I think back in those days, you did studies. You did the West Side study, the East Side study. And we got real when all of you came on board. We all got together and wanted that next level of, we have to prove to ourselves that it's worth it. Not that they didn't have value, but I read those. Those were complicated. And at the time, they didn't see the need for a deck. But
times have changed.
Times have changed.
Council, I'm going to go ahead and go to council now. Councilmember Cuthbertson, I'll go to you, and then Councilmember Bixon.
A couple of things. We're here to talk about this planning study tonight. I will say that the parking study absolutely called out multiple locations for parking in materially in the two locations that exist. So I'm not sure where that comment was grounded, but nevertheless, as having sat on the planning commission now for I think 10 years, I've seen the tail end of an expansion cycle, a extreme contraction cycle, and almost as an extreme expansion cycle on the flip side of it. In sitting there on the planning commission and trying to do a good job for the community and considering things broadly, the press and the volume of the applications were such that I think the average planning commissioner could put the pieces together in a way that made sense, and they could exercise planning judgment more broadly about how one or two developments at any given time were coming together for this community. What we're talking about and what's before us right now is a sea change from that. It is hundreds of units. I don't want to exaggerate and say thousands, but it's probably getting close to that number. And so being able to aggregate that and plan it and talk about it in a way that is proactive and plans rather than reacts, to me, is everything that we need this study for. So in principle, I believe this is important for those reasons. I will say that I don't agree that this is a downtown Rochester focused plan. This is for Rochester. A lot of the development is happening in the downtown area, but not all of it. And the impacts are much broader than the downtown. So I think that the posturing of the language of the project plan is a little too parochial for my taste in that regard. I'll also give you the aside, John, because everybody who does it, it's sort of a rite of passage, but people who capitalize capital D,
Yeah.
not at the beginning of the sentence,
No.
get this remark from me. It's a common noun.
We knew that. We thought we talked about it, John.
Yeah.
But I would be remiss if I didn't make that
Appreciate
remark.
that.
But I think the challenge here is to make sure that the Planning Commission has the tools to interpret and apply and plan broadly. And we need support. To the mayor's point, you get the developer's story, right? And they're pressing it, and they have their paid consultants that are helping to advance that theme. I mean, we saw it tonight to a very small degree, right? On a much smaller project. And so for the Planning Commission to have independent tools that are at the ready, beyond just the site plan review of the planner, is really important to me. So I support it. The number is, I'm a little apprehensive about the number that's involved. I'm reminded of the Wendy's commercial. I want to make sure the beef shows up.
Yeah.
But I think this is the right thing to do. It's past time to do it, and so I'd support it this evening.
Councilmember Bixon.
Yes, I also think, I'm very aware that Planning Commission needs, this has gotten a lot more complicated from the years I sat on the Planning Commission. There's big projects that we need to think about. So I support that. I think this should go out to bid. You know, institutional knowledge is the reason we never bid out anything all those years in the city. That's the cop-out not to bid. People on here, I mean, this is major dollars. This isn't just another little study. Let's go out and see what other people have. Why wouldn't we do that? I mean, we've had a tradition on this council since, I think, Mr. Cuthbertson and I kind of got on there that we would bid out these projects. Let's see what other people have. Let's see some new ideas. You know, sometimes institutional knowledge is good. Sometimes maybe it's time for someone else to take another look at this. So it's, you know, of course, nothing against you, but let's see what everybody has. And then if not, then we go with them. But let's see, there's other firms. Let's see what other people have to offer. But to me, for $50,000 not to bid it, I just think that's wrong, and that's going against what this council has been about for 10 years or so. Thank you. So I cannot support it unless it's bid out to other companies. To me, this is, as Councilmember Giovanelli used to say, this is a no-brainer. This needs to be bid. This is big dollars, people. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson?
Okay,
You had your
okay,
hand
yeah,
up, correct?
I did, yes,
Okay.
I did. I saw Nick wanted to
Oh.
speak. My notes that I had taken from reading this was I was concerned that it was only for the downtown district as well, and because it's, for doing a traffic study, the housing and mobility, I mean, it affects the whole entire community. So I would like it for the whole city, otherwise we are going to be remiss in something that's out there in any of the redevelopment of any of the neighborhoods or anything if something was to change. My initial, when I went to the administration, was I don't want McKenna doing this. McKenna's did our master plan, there are planners, I want outside. But the more I read into it and went into the master plan and everything that has encompassed this for the last 3 years, I don't know if anyone else could actually bring that type of in-depth knowledge. And it's not just the institutional knowledge, it's the in-depth that you've been carrying on this whole time and with every developer and knowing what the people coming here want to do, so you can take that into account as well when you're making these decisions and planning. So I don't know about that. I have to think about that one real quick, if that was something I would, be in favor of for bidding it out at this point in time. I know there's, everyone wants to get started on this, so we have something moving forward. Are we going to make a decision too quickly? I don't want that to happen either without the proper. I went through the master plan again today before coming here, and, I think overall we have a lot of good things going on that the Planning Commission has worked on, even though I've been against some of these. I'm calling them all spot zoning right now, even though it's just kind of what it looks like, okay? That's why I would really like to see this impact study done, so it takes into account all of this here, and I would almost want to halt some of those until you actually finished doing this, or whoever was to do it, came back, so we are making a good educated decision on any sort of development and up here for any procedures and ordinances and anything else that would apply to make those changes moving forward. So with that, I will listen to the rest of my colleagues' comments. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Giovanelli, and then Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In my next life, I'm coming back as a city planner or a engineering firm, because all I have to do is present an idea and I can get a study done. And we've had death by study up here. I've been on council for 10 years now. We probably get, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 of these a year. And it's, to my colleague's point, it's just always this giant. But in this particular case, we sat through the presentation in DDA. So a few things. 8.5 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, I am totally down with the bid. That's the most responsible thing for us to do. I happen to agree with my colleague about the institutional knowledge part. That's important. But one other thing that we had talked about at DDA, and Nick, hopefully you can backfill on this for me, 2 things. Number one is the reason for the acceleration of this, to get it done quicker. And then B, to my mind, the rationale for paying for it was the extraordinary amount of money that we have received in building fees, which in effect has already paid for this. So I'm not looking to just toss out $50,000 willy-nilly. I think this is super important. I think to a person up here, we all agree. It feels like it's not that we don't agree on it. it feels like is it should be bid out or not. That's just my sense from talking to everybody up here. But I just wanted to share what we talked about at DDA. Nick came before the Downtown Development Authority and presented this just as the typical, we've tried to instill in the administration to communicate. So, but I think it's important to note those two things in particular with respect to how much fees we've generated from all the building activity, which really is in effect going to pay for this, and then the reason for, the time why it would not be wise to bid it out.
Did you want to address?
Sure, and I, John and I had this conversation. The first thing he said to me is, "Do you want to bid it out?" I would like to, because that's normal and that's easy. The moving target for me is with our engineers and with our planners. Until the end of the year, we have a line item in our budget that says consultants, right? And it would be the engineers and the planners. Alls we can do is guess at that number because it's based on how much activity comes in. So if no site plans came in during the year, there's no money that goes out. If no engineering reviews, they don't go out. Some years it's tens of thousands of dollars more goes to the consultant because they're producing the product based on the ask of us. So this comes in one lump sum, but it's no more than their monthly retainer to keep this thing going. So we were more comfortable with the fact that the target number for planning moves. If we need to do we brought in front of you, the city council, we asked during the budget process, the master plan, if you want to keep this moving, it's above and beyond our normal planning center. We agreed to that. That was 30, 40, 50,000. We didn't think about it because it's just the next step in what we were doing. This is the next step in the master plan. So that helped us feel better about not bidding it out. So second, what drove the timeline, it doesn't matter that 3 big developers are kind of looking over my shoulder all day saying, come on, we're talking $150 million. They get my answer. It's like, we're going to do this right. We're not worried about it. But we're cognizant of your time. We're cognizant that we made a promise that we'll keep it moving forward. We could bid this out and hold it open for 10 days and interview, and if McKenna got it or somebody else got it, we can probably keep it going close to, but the data to be dug up, I guarantee you that the number that's another consulting firm is going to come up with is a lot more than $50,000 because they don't have the background. That background is worth a lot of money. 5, 6, 7 years of background that built this project to go to the next part where John talked about quantification. So that's not institutional knowledge. That's facts. I'm not defending it. It's the facts that we invested in this company to get us here, and now
it's the next step.
And who?
So, and I'll go to the mayor pro tem because she was, and then John, I'll let you. And then I'll start calling in council.
And John can speak to it because I have a lot of questions. $56,000. We did the master plan for 30-ish, maybe 40, maybe I don't know. I can't remember. It was 38 or something like that. So it just seems like that knowledge should carry over, and it looks like this is my issue that I've been sitting up here the last 6 months is everything is urgent. Every single thing that comes to our table is urgent. And it's so overwhelming because I feel like we have no time to process this. We knew this was coming last month. We had something in the manager's report to kind of digest what this is. But with that, I don't really know what that toolbox looks like. For instance, the services that is not even in here anywhere of the DPW, the fire department. I don't see that piece of the services spelled out. I think that should be in the first page under 1, 2, 3, and then 4 would be the service impact. And like the cluster development, the issue that we had today, that should be addressed too, because we have these cluster developments that there's no control over. And maybe it shouldn't be. I don't know. That's the problem. We're lay people up here. We're trying to make good decisions for the legacy of the community for 20, 30, 50 years down the road. The other thing that got me a little bit, I don't understand what this is because you say you don't want to use fuzzy language in helping us. But like in phase 1, it says study area. What does study area mean? Is that all of Rochester? Those are the kind of questions that, so I have many of them, but that's, if you want to address that one, go for it.
Sure. Well, I I think, and number one, it's project initiation, and it's a staff meeting to confirm the study area. So, we're getting feedback now that you want to take on a broader area. And so we would, during that initial staff meeting, we'd confirm all these assumptions, affirm the scope, make sure we're on the right track, make sure that's the right, and if we need to make changes, we'd make changes and get authorization.
So what was that? So you just said that we're expanding the scope. So those are the things that, I mean, if we're in the DDA, is the DDA paying part of this? I don't know where that's coming from. It's not explained in here for that unless I missed it. But the study area, those are the things, like we're making a decision for this and we don't even, so you're saying in planning we don't even know what that scope is? Because I figure that Rochester, but maybe I'm off base.
No, we prepared this proposal. We met with Nick and we put together our thoughts on, what we had talked about. And then we sent this in, in September and we asked for feedback. And if I had gotten feedback that we wanted to look at the city as a whole, I could have made those changes and brought a revised scope in with a different number, and we could have included some different things in it. That was what that first project initiation is. That's what that step is, to confirm that we've got the right scope here, that we're diving deep enough, that we're looking broad enough. And if the feedback that we get is, no, we want to take a different look, then we'd revise the proposal and give you something different to respond to.
This is our first open forum, other than a
Absolutely.
manager's report that we had a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely. So I'm taking all this in. I appreciate these comments. But a couple other things, if I could. The institutional knowledge, I think, is definitely valuable, but I don't want to overshadow the fact that we work in a lot of downtown communities. And I think that's what you get with McKenna also, is that you get the value of what's going on in other communities, other situation, and we bring that to the table. So I think that's a valuable asset as well. And then one last point, another point I want to make is, someone mentioned the building department fees. Okay, those are fees that the city charges when these projects get into the building department. Okay, but your site plan review fees compared to other communities are non-existent. You paid us more than this in review fees that you haven't captured over the time since, easily since we started doing site plan reviews here. So, and this is something that is intended to help, make these decisions, make these reviews, I don't want to say easier, but, more predictable. One of the things that during the master plan was the special projects. Every special project was being evaluated, on some, undetermined criteria. And so one of the things that we wanted to do as part of that planning process is to give the city something that they could use as a tool to evaluate those kind of projects consistently and based on data. So that's what this is.
So, you used tool, and I'm still a little fuzzy on what that toolbox looks like. But what I sit up here is I'm representing the community that I want to keep Rochester, and it feels like we're going farther and farther away from that. And I know that, like leaf pickup, just simple things that make us Rochester. When you drive into Rochester, you're going to have nice roads. You're going to have a beautiful place to look at, parks, trailways. You're going to have activity in a vibrant downtown. The thing is, when we just look at data, it sometimes it seems like we're removing the charm of what we are, and that is, I know that's probably what you're trying to do. That's what you're trying to bring to us, and that's why I'm happy about this. But I cannot stress it enough that we need to maintain Rochester, because we are drifting. We are drifting, and all these little services that we're talking about. it's frustrating to me because we have a lot of changeover, we have a lot of new things going on, we have a lot of development, so trees are getting bigger, we have more leaves. I'm just using that as one of the examples because it's fall and everyone's talking. And I drove, I've been away for 5 days, and the roads look terrible. And people are calling me up, what's going on? We don't have leaf pickup, the curbs don't look nice. And so those are the things, and I know that this is going to help us, but I don't know what that toolbox looks like. The planning, the master plan is part of a toolbox too, but what is that, this document that we're getting, I want to have some comfort that's going to say, we're going to move in this direction.
So, I'm not, the way you keep the services that Rochester is so lucky to have, you have to pay for them. How do you pay for them? You get bigger tax base. There's no other way.
Right.
If you don't increase your tax base, the same amount of tax dollars does less and less every year.
Nick, we have increased our tax.
But you haven't seen, there's so much on the table right now. And again, not being on the planning commission, I totally get this, seems like it's hitting you. There's $350 million of development floating around this town, easy right now. Do the math. It's millions of dollars in the general fund. But that doesn't mean we're going to approve it all. And the planning commission's like, we're not just taking this for fun. So it's a juggling thing, right?
So,
It's
Councilmember
difficult.
Cuthbertson, I think you wanted to.
Yeah, I'd add two things. The Planning Commission rejected a 6-story apartment building down on the old cement plant.
Yep.
This isn't let it rip. This isn't Rochester's going to, heck in a handbasket. I mean, the Planning Commission has been fairly careful about how it engages matters. I understand there's some angst about one partially built building that may not have enough windows on North Main. I get that that's a matter of some discussion in the community. Building's not done, but understand the Planning Commission every year does a visit. We all get on a bus and we all go and do a visit in addition to driving around to see, okay, what is the sum of the development that's happened in the last year? And take that into consideration. We all live here, right? We're members of the Planning Commission. We listen to our neighbors and we get input from people. So while I understand that there's some angst about this, folks, the reality in the property market in Rochester is that for commercial real estate, even with significant environmental contamination, is approaching, and then sometimes in excess of $1 million an acre. The property owners in this community that are selling their property are commanding huge sums of money. The only way development happens when that is the case requires some measure of density in order to allow for an investment rate of return based on the cost of capital and the development. So how do we, and this conversation, I think, puts an absolute bow on why we need this study, is to be able to balance the interest of a community that we all know and respect and like its character, and one which is inevitably growing, which is good for the community, right? And try to put that into some kind of understandable and workable context. And yeah, it's $50,000. Yeah, I agree that, if we were on the front end of a service relationship, that bidding this would be the right thing to do. I would note with respect to bidding this after the fact is, here's the entire project plan, here's everything that's needed to happen, you need to beat the $56,000 number, and the cat's out of the bag. And then hope that you can get something that is quality by December 1st, because we have a bunch of developments that need to be considered with a tool that has some teeth. So I understand the angst. I understand the concern. I don't like being rushed into decisions. I agree that we have had more than our fair share of urgent requests lately. But to not respond to this one, to me, would seem a greater mistake than acting in a way that just, goes into a turtle shell That's not what we need right now.
I'm just going to say that this is not, to me, this is not a study. This is a work plan that complements what the Planning Commission is doing. So to me, as a planner, and I understand not everybody sits on planning, but to me, this is a work study. This is a guidebook. This is a companion to when I have a developer comes, I have some information that gives me better knowledge of how I can vote on something, ask the right questions, what's the effect of the neighborhood, so to me, it's not just a study. This is a work plan, workbook, companion that you have as a planner that council then gets better information that's brought to them, because council, a lot of these projects council has to rule on because they're special projects or special exceptions and all of that. If you have that data, we don't have to ask, okay, what's the effect on the traffic? What's the effect on the fire? This is all going to be done in companion with us making an educated decision. So I think I had some other, Councilmember Peterson, you wanted to, I'm sorry, Councilmember, yes.
That's
Mayor
okay.
Pro Tem.
I mean, if you want to go to someone else, listen to someone
go
else's
ahead, I'll let
voice.
you finish.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in phase 5, you have the toolkit that I'm kind of looking for, and it's talking about procedures and checklists and models. So typically, like for instance on Letica, when the Suave did the development behind OPC, we were asking them to do the traffic study so that we would have the impact because, of that. So, and I'm not sure because a lot of things are saying, I mean, guys, I think this is important. I'm not saying it's not important. What I'm saying is that I want to be able to have something that is true to the community in a timely basis without us feeling like we are getting just jammed with stuff. And I know that everyone that's sitting on the Planning Commission, but that's not what I'm saying. This is $56,000 that we're putting into this. I know that it's a tight time frame, but with that, the procedures, the checklists, the models, the flow chart. So are you saying that when something comes to planning, that they're going to have this and it's going to say, okay, yes, it goes into this bucket, and if it doesn't, then what? Then we just say no? Is that is that?
Well, no, you'll know the impacts exceed what, when we did the parking study, we had a parking model. So you could plug in a new development and show that, okay, you have excess capacity or you don't have capacity. And if you don't have capacity, someone's going to have to pay for the extra parking. So it's going to let you make decisions like that.
Okay, and like on services, the same thing? So like, let's just say, well, like the fire department, we know when a senior center comes in, we have more calls. That is data that backs that type of thing up.
Yep.
So those are the things that.
Right. And one of the other things we're going to look at is how much revenue is going to be generated. And I think the point was brought up about how valuable the property in Rochester across the board is valuable, right? No question about it. Mm-hmm. But there are areas where it's unbelievably valuable. And so when you look at the taxes that are generated in small areas where the prices are extremely high, and then, the question when we came in again for the parking study was, why should the city as a whole pay for the parking? But when you look at the disproportionate amount of revenue that's generated in taxes from the downtown area, maybe that wasn't such an imbalance after all.
Right.
Maybe that area does generate enough extra revenue to pay for that. So those are the kind of questions that not only the Planning Commission but Council will have when you're looking at the impacts of these major projects. I mean, there's more projects going on here than anywhere else I know.
That's a good thing.
It is, if you're prepared, yeah.
If you're prepared. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson and then Councilmember Bixson.
All right, thank you. Just a couple more things. Number one, I had already made a note that you already bid, so I don't know. I mean, you already have your numbers out there, so that wouldn't be fair at all to go out to bid at this moment unless you totally we changed how you're going to do this fully. I know our permit fees are lower than any surrounding communities here, so that makes it even more desirable here. So I do like the fact that the monies to pay for this could come directly from what it is going to be taken care of. And I also think that this is a better tool for administration and the Planning Commission to use to give us they're going to need this tool to bring us that information to decipher through everything, to where we know, though, that you've done that, you've gone through it, and everyone can give us good, valid information moving forward. I just know with all the development we have here, yes, I do know, being in real estate myself, that we have very, expensive land here. I don't want it to just go to anything and be like some of the other communities that you drive through today. I mean, I think it's imperative right now that we focus on that, because we are so residential based here in our 3 little square miles. We need to make sure that impact is not going to affect the resident, but also bring in the tax base we need, so it's not burdensome on them anymore for all of this. I know it's really hard to find that, but I think this tool, with what you've done in the master plan so far and all the work on these zones, if the zones are going to be accurate and move forward, we can do that. The only next question is I think that council and administration have to look at is the tax dollars coming out of any residential properties that are going to be in the mixed use in the DDA area. And I think that impact alone, I think, needs to come out of this study as well if you were to move forward with this. And I do think it's imperative that we move forward with this here, because I want us to have that guiding tool, as the mayor mentioned. It is part of the master plan. This is just an extension that maybe we should have had that to begin with and should have just expanded that at the time. And maybe we set that example for the rest of the communities, that not only do you do your master plan, you do this impact analysis to have the tools to go together to make the best decisions moving forward.
Thank you.
Because we're not the experts up here.
Okay, Councilmember Bixson?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're all in agreement, pretty much all in agreement, that we could use this study. I mean, there's value in it. And I think we all agree that McKenna's done a good job. We all like video. I mean, but, we try to make this sound like it's not another study. It's some interactive something. It's just another study. Another month or two isn't going to make that much different. Nick has been saying that there's big projects always on the horizon that we've got to rush. And, well, somehow I think if someone's going to be investing hundreds of millions of dollars, another month or two isn't going to make a difference. They've shown what they can do. Well, they have then we'll rebid it all. I mean, these are the arguments that the old crew in Rochester used not to bid out services for 25 years. We don't do that anymore. So
Thank you. Thank you.
I wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were still going. Go ahead.
You sound like you wanted me to stop.
No, not at all.
Okay. I'm
I
done
wasn't
now.
sure.
Thank you.
I apologize. I just didn't know. That's all. Any other council members' comments?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
And I don't, no matter what, I don't feel that anything that I'm thinking of that we're just hurrying anything through right now. I really think that it's kind of just bad timing of how this came about, because we weren't expecting so many people to come to this community with those dollars. And, the developers, I mean, if they're not going to spend it here, they will go find a place to spend it. I mean, they don't have to come here. I just think we have to be mindful of what our business practices are here as well. And I think this tool, ends up being the tool to actually help. Because I think that we got to this point because too many things have been coming here and going through planning. These developers who spend all this extra money coming into town to be told no, I mean, that's just wrong. So, I mean, I hope this tool would be the tool that doesn't have them put them in that place anymore. And I would like the administration to have a tool that they don't have to do any guesswork. And, overall, I still have to say that the information that you have carried through with the knowledge of the developers coming here, what people are looking for in this community, and what you've done with the master plan, that all has that significant value, one way or the other. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments or any motions to move forward on this?
I'll make
Mayor,
a
if I,
mo-
oh,
Yeah.
Mayor, if I may. To me, I think Councilmember Bixson kind of did summarize it. It sounds like everybody is in support of the study. I do want to note, that we would, work with the consultant to adjust the scope to ensure that all the city is covered. I know that, was a question here in a couple of components to ensure that the city services, our Public Works Department, Police and Fire is included, the impact on the DDA, and finally on the cost. I want council to know that actually for the last 18 months, Finance, along with administration, have been looking at our fees, and during this upcoming goals and objectives, we'll be bringing forth some recommendation that can help offset the cost of this this project. I typically would be pushing originally, and Nick knows this, to say, hey, is this something that we need to be doing as a request for proposal? We're going to be doing several of those here during this fall and winter season as we're hitting our health insurance renewal, engineering, and several other ones. If this sort of project wasn't included in the last request for proposal that these guys did propose on, I would have already told Nick the answer is no, it needs to go out. I do feel in this particular instance, when we did do the last request for proposal and they were again confirmed as our selected firm, that was included. So I do feel comfortable with it. I do want to have the checklists, if this number exceeds that model, or if it does or if it doesn't, how much revenue, so to kind of play almost the Sim City. Because I want to keep Rochester, the special, unique character of our community And this tool, I think, will be one of the biggest tools in our toolbox. And I think it's up to administration, along with our consultants, to actually have that for City Council and our Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have one other thought on all that just came out. And actually from sitting on, two other colleagues up here on the Infrastructure Committee, I think that also, this here is just as more valuable because of that we just went through, to know that these things and how that's going to actually impact that, because I know our DPW director is going to have to juggle a lot of things, and having this tool, I think, would actually help that as well moving forward. So.
All right. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, so the fee of $56,300, it says lump sum fee of that amount. How is that being, because I know that we talked about fees could pay for that. We don't know if part of the DDA is going to pay for that. What does that look like for us and the common citizen?
Through the chair, so Blaine and I talked about it a bit. So the fees don't come in until later. They come in as a result of development, right? So our recommendation is the general fund pays for this. The money's there because of the building. We want to have a dialogue with the DDA. We already started that conversation. They should put in money to this because they're getting a portion of that. I don't think they'll have any problem with that because some of the taxes, new stuff is in the district and they'll generate that money. So we didn't have a model for that, quite frankly. John said you should divvy it up. You could divvy it up amongst the developers. We're not comfortable with that, but they'll pay their fair share when the appropriate site plan fees are raised and get it. So in order to, if we decide to move forward, we would pay it up front and then the money would come in the back end after fees are adjusted. We talked to the DDA.
Okay. And that's why, like, the urgency is, like, if we just had a couple of those things ironed out, it just would make it, I think we need this, but that's what makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm just letting you all know. That's why I feel uncomfortable with it. I think it's needed. I'm not saying that I like and I'm going to keep this separate so that when I get that report, I'm going to say, okay, where is my X, Y, and Z?
Yeah. Sure.
Because, like Councilmember Cuthbertson, we want to see the beef, in this analysis.
Yeah, it's hard to go to another body to ask for money for something that they're going to say the city council approve it. This is a tough one because I can't raise the fees until the council makes a resolution to raise the fees. So the real answer is we're asking for it to come out of the general fund. That's all we have for a source right now.
Okay. Do you see my point?
Yes, absolutely.
I guess that's all I wanted to hear.
Anything else?
Can it be part of the motion?
Mayor Pro Tem?
No.
Okay, that's okay. And Councilmember Giovanelli.
Sorry, just in consideration, we got DDAs coming up in a couple of weeks, right? So I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and go forward with this predicated on the Downtown Development Authority kicking in $20,000 towards it. To the extent that they are unable to do so, and I'm not trying to put the director or the chairman on the spot right now, but it seems like there's a sense of urgency here. So So this will actually just force the issue to be on the agenda. And for whatever the reason that the DDA decides they can't afford it, which is entirely likely, it'll come back here and then we can decide, and then we'll know. So that way we at least have the ability to take a bite at the apple before the whole apple is yanked away from us and
So it
or
could
still
make-
in the bag.
It's in 2 weeks.
So it could make it onto the DDA for October 18th, and then we have a meeting on October 3rd, and we could bring it back if need be, 23rd, if need be at that meeting.
Yeah, so I mean, the timing seems to work out well.
Okay.
So let's try that and see what happens.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Giovanelli.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have any discussion? Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Only what's the impact on the timeline?
You know, 2
Do
weeks.
it.
There's 2 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks at this point, right?
2 weeks
Well-
is a pretty significant bite into the
Well-
month and a half schedule, right?
Yeah.
Madam Mayor.
Just a second.
We'll just push it back, 'cause it's, gotta get the full impact.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do our best, but it's likely it's going to cost us a week or two.
All right, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, and do I have any other discussion on this item? Yeah, go ahead,
what's the motion?
Councilmember Vixen.
What's the-
To approve it, predicated on the Downtown Development Authority kicking in 20 grand. If they don't, then it'll come back here and we'll have another quote-unquote bite at the apple and decide if we want to go forward with it at our next meeting on the 23rd.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Any Councilmember Vixen? Any other question on this?
Thank you.
Okay. And do I have any other discussion on this item?
Well, does it sound like we're going to move forward, or is it just
This
dependent on
is
that?
moving forward and asking for 20,000 from DDA. If DDA cannot contribute, it will come back and we will have another vote on it, yes or no.
Okay, so it's not like McKenna could begin this, so then we're not behind.
No, because we haven't
Okay.
fully approved
Okay.
the, so.
So, I'm sorry.
Yep, please.
Are you, Councilmember Ray has his hand up.
Yep, Councilmember Ray.
In regards to the motion, if we're really under a timeline to get this done, my suspicion is that the project's going to go through, absent to the degree that the DDA wants to materially participate in the funding of it. Is there anything preventing council from adopting or making a motion to move forward with the study and then have some haggling done after the fact in terms of what the DDAs can or will contribute?
Well, the
To save
maker,
2 weeks?
it's up, I'm going to go back to protocol. It is the maker of the motion's prerogative to either change his motion and/or go with the motion that is on the floor. Correct, Madam Clerk? Okay.
So
just
two
wanna
things.
make
First
sure.
of all, I don't think anybody seconded the motion, did they?
Yes, yeah, we have a second.
Okay,
That's why
sweet.
we're
So now we can
discussing
continue.
it.
Okay, got it. I was like, there's been so much debate here. I
know, and I
sure.
apologize. I wanna make sure.
So I also sit on the Downtown Development Authority, as everybody knows. So I'm trying to not be like I'm trying to wear multiple hats here. But with all due respect, from a negotiating standpoint, let's go this route first, and then if it fails, at least it'll come back to council. Because if we say, all right, well, go ahead, and in case you guys have a little extra money, throw it our way. This way, they have to vote on it, say no, and then we'll come back and talk about it on the 23rd.
Protocol, if I may, ma'am. So, what if the DDA says kind of what you guys say, you want me to decide with no background on this, I'm going to wait a month? Or you want to wait a month?
No,
That's,
they'll have to take a yes or no vote. The DDA will have to
so
say
I
yes
can-
or
I'll-
no.
You need to start working the phones,
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah.
You're like
I got you.
Jerry Lewis right now.
I got you.
I know,
That's
but
fair.
I just want to clarify, sitting as the liaison in DDA, this has been brought
That's
forth
true.
to them, so
That is true.
it's not that
And we did say
they
we
have-
might come to them for front. Good
Correct.
point.
Yes, you did. It's not.
Yeah,
that
and I
it's-
spoke at great lengths, and so did Councilmember Giovanelli. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
I want to give my colleague all the tools that he thinks is appropriate. I guess I would only say that I would be, my concern about the fiscal operation of the DDA would reach a new low if it could not find $20,000 to help create a tool which will allow for the best or a better creation of the tax base upon which it hopes to collect revenue into the future. So if we need to slow down for a week to make sure that they can see the wisdom in that, I'm fine with it. I would prefer to proceed tonight, but there's a motion on the floor that gets us
Yep.
most of the way there.
So I'm going to go ahead, and if it's all right with everybody, call the vote. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
No.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Dovenelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Oh, good, it goes back
Thank
to
you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Next, we have reports and regular business. I have consideration of a confirmation of the mayoral appointment of David Zemmons to the OPEB board.
So moved.
I have Councilmember Cuthbertson, support by Peterson. Madam Clerk, any discussion?
No.
Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Dovenelli.
Stepped out.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Next is consideration of a confirmation of the mayoral appointment of Kevin Stewart to the PSD board.
So moved.
I have Peterson and the Mayor Pro Tem. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
And next, I have consideration of a confirmation of the mayoral appointment of Lynn Anderson to the Historical Commission.
So moved.
Support.
Member Peterson, support by Councilmember Ray. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Next is consideration of appointment to the Planning Commission. I would like to nominate Eric Lord to the Planning Commission for a vote at the next meeting, which would be the 23rd of October.
So moved.
No motion
I
needed.
know. Just like, he'd be a good one.
Receive a report from the Planning Commission first, so Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Thank you. We've had quite a bit of discussion about, actually, did we have OPC one first?
Well, it's planning in the reading and then OPC,
Yeah.
but on the agenda, so
Oh.
I'm just doing it by reading. So I'll go to Councilmember Bixen first, please, by the OPC.
Yeah, we had a good meeting. We approved, the big thing is record retention and stuff, and we still got a new plan, so I think the OPC is, now we're cutting edge technology-wise, which is good. And one thing on here that was a big thing is there were some issues about the quality of air in the pool area, and we spent some time and money and fixed that, so the pool now is even better than it was, and members are happy. So really the kind of infrastructure of the OPC has become a big, not a big concern as if there's problems, but just maintaining it. So we've done that, and things are really going swimmingly. Should I say that?
I knew it was
Thank you.
coming, man. Oh, okay.
Anything else, Mr. Bixen?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Thank you. Though we had a few more things on the agenda, there's really only two that actually remain for discussion. The first of which was consideration of a request for site plan and special exception approval from Orthopedic Spine and Sports Therapy to operate a medical office inside the RARA facility at 480 2nd Street. The applicant actually wasn't there. There was a report prepared by administration, or excuse me, the city planner, which, based on some input from the prior meeting, which indicated that members of the general public would become invitees for this facility, would create a second principal permitted use, which would also be inconsistent with the B1 zoning district, and while perhaps compatible, as a matter of code, couldn't be considered by the Planning Commission. And so we tabled the request to present those findings to the applicant and to RARA, and to see what it is that they want to do, potentially with rezoning or changing of the nature of the operation so that it would potentially comply. So balls in their court, pardon the pun. Yeah, see, I can do it too. There was consideration of a site plan and special exception for a game changer, and this was actually tabled as well to allow for the developer the applicant to make some adjustments to their statement of, to their plan to be presented, and there was also a need for a compliant site plan, which wasn't a part of the package, so they had a little more work to do. Then we had a discussion and consideration of regulations regarding vaping uses, so this was the beginning of the discussion coming out of the declaration of moratorium, which was passed at our last meeting here at City Council. We requested some information from administration on whether other communities have similar ordinances. There was also an interest to look at potential hookah lounges and the like in multi-tenant to kind of look at the subject more broadly. And make sure that, you know, we're approaching the situation, you know, comprehensively. So we'll be talking about that more at the next Planning Commission meeting, and I believe the presentation that Officer Dramer did here in middle August will be given to the Planning Commission as well as a background, I think perhaps to some of the local versions of the issues Councilmember Bixson referred to at Waterford Mod. So more to come. So that's my report. Thank you.
Can I just add something regarding the vaping? Also, you know, I brought it up to the administration today too. One of the biggest things I think with that, let alone that issue, is those cartridges that they use for that. I mean, people just throw them in the street, so it's a huge garbage issue as well for trash. Doesn't help.
Anything else?
No, Madam Mayor, sorry.
Next, we go to new business for referral and miscellaneous. First, we have consideration of a request to authorize the city manager to submit a letter to the MDEQ acknowledging the city's approval to allow the Rewald headquarters to relocate their storm sewer outlet through the city-owned property. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you. You almost summarized it. Basically, for this new project to go through at 303 East and 2nd, the plan requires the relocation of an existing storm sewer outlet. The relocated outlet would have to pass through city-owned property. The motion that we're seeking is to authorize myself, the city manager, to submit a letter to the MDEQ acknowledging that the city is approving to allow the Rewald headquarters to relocate this storm sewer outlet through city-owned property, understanding that our final location must be approved by our city engineers as part of the construction drawings in the review process.
Councilmember Cuthbertson.
What kind of agreements go around this?
Mr. City Attorney, can you?
It'd be in the nature of an easement. There's a number of easements that Director Fielderecki and I are going through that will be brought before this board for approval.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to just. I'm sure you're on top of wanting somebody to maintain it, obviously, but it's sort of it's a little bit more than that in this instance in terms of the use of public property. So I'll wait to see the paper, but I'm glad it's coming. Thank you.
So do I have a motion? Yes, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just had a question. This one, the one application was actually filled out by the applicant, but it says that the construction of the new outfall to the Paint Creek and the abandonment of an existing outlet just upstream of the proposed, and that's what we talked about last time, so that's not changed at all of how the water, would be. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have support on the motion?
Support.
Support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Do I have any discussion? Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Yeah, I would just indicate that authorization would include final approval of all easement and other agreements necessary for the implementation of this, just so that we're telling DEQ, yeah, this is fine, but the rest of the paper has to be fine too. So
Yeah.
that would be my request for a friendly amendment.
And I'll accept that because it's stated under the requested action for him. Okay, thanks.
Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Walden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Giovanelli,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Presentation and discussion regarding the Detroit United Railway book. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, as the chairman for the committee comes up to talk about this, and I actually have the clicker as well, so I'll have to pass that off to him unless you would like to just tell me when to flip through the pages. So basically, the Historic Commission is reaching the time to print the book that they've been working on for the 20-plus years. And so it's an exciting time. We're really trying to get the book published and ready so it could be in people's hands for the holiday season. There's still, I think, some final numbers that are still going to need to be needed, so I'm happy at the end to kind of talk about how we'll kind of go through that. But numbers from our seeking proposals and final numbers have been coming in as I think as early as today. So
Right.
I'll hand that over to the chair.
Thank you.
Okay. William Petrie, I'm the chair of the Rochester Historical Commission. This is kind of an updated briefing, and I know Councilman Ray has been keeping City Council abreast as we inch our way down this path. Next chart. Well, basically in August of 2017, we came up with a website and put it out there to see what the real demand was with regards to this book, okay? Originally, we had, the first 30 days, we had 96 people that basically said they were interested in the book at a cost of $39.95, okay? We're now up to 120 as I speak, and it constantly is going up. So basically, the website is up. There's also a flyer at the desk at City Hall here in the senses that some people that do not have computer access could fill out an actual hard copy and leave it here at the city. Next chart. Well, basically, we've been running some numbers, okay? We're down to an economical quantity of 250 copies. Color House Graphics was the first one to come in with the lowest bid so far at a printing cost of about $4,500, a layout cost of $2,200, total cost around $6,700, okay? Number of books to break even is 170, okay? Right now I have pre-orders of 120. There is other demand out there with regards to a real estate office that wants a quantity of books, but they really want a copy to see, okay, before they actually agree to it. We also got a quote over the weekend for 250 copies from another offer. Again, that was significantly higher, okay. He was at $8,700 for printing costs, $2,900 for layout costs, for a total cost of $11,000. Therefore, we would have to almost sell 300 books for $295 to break even. We're expecting one more offer from a local printer, hopefully this week, okay? The original plan with this was to buy an economical quantity of 250. If the demand really takes off, we would have a option in the contract to exercise an option, say 6 or 8 months after the contract has been awarded, at a fixed cost that we would know up front. And then I would come back to the city council and say, hey, we got demands for another 150 books, and we're almost at zero, so we need to
Order some
exercise the
more.
option, okay? Next chart. Again, I went over this a little bit. I have 120 books currently in interest as I speak, and a quantity of books for a local real estate company as soon as he can see a hard copy. He has received snippets and pictures, but he has not really seen the entire document.
We'd like to see the final product.
Okay, next chart, break-even point, kind of just simple math, okay, with regards to the book website, 120, initial realtor to be determined, and a total quantity to be determined. Shipping costs, now I got this off the UPS, or the United States Post Office website, of about $6.65 for the little pocket book. The plan is they would go on the website, order the book, They would be shipped out of the city here. We put them in the mail room or whatever you call it over there, and they drop them in the books in an envelope and mail them out.
I have a quick question on that. So are you looking at a media price, so a book price to ship? Because there is a price for that.
Yeah, so what we're actually looking at is, I think, slightly lower than this. There's a box that we can actually, anything that fits in the box actually ships. So it's just slightly lower than that. So anything, it doesn't matter about the weight and everything else.
Well, I'll
but-
also send you, because my
Okay.
husband has a book,
Sure.
and he sends it out. And so
Okay.
there is a cost, and I think it's substantially lower than some of those.
Be
So
happy
I
to
will
look at any
forward
cost
that
savings,
off
sure.
to all of you. Yes, Councilmember Ray.
I was just going to suggest we do have a post office in the city.
Yes.
I'm sure they'd probably be happy to partner with us and find the most economical way to ship these books out.
Absolutely, because there is a flat fee they charge. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so based on that, I'll go to the next chart, which is just questions from city council here.
Councilmember Peterson, did you have one?
I don't have any questions. I want to thank you again for bringing it forward. I think it's a great idea. Mine is to administration, though, because it is the bicentennial. I know if we had money come from the Historical Commission and go transfer over to the DDA to work on the bicentennial, and I would like to know if we have the funds available from that so we can use it to take care and pay for the book.
Going to be very minimal if we do. We're still waiting for a few final invoices there. So there was $40,000 set aside. Right now, that's already been paid out is just under $30,000, and we're expecting about another $8,500. So there might be a little bit of money, but it wouldn't be the not to exceed amount that was being requested here, about $6,800.
Okay, so I guess then I would like it if we could actually possibly, whatever's left over goes towards the book as it's part of the history. I think it would be good. And I'd like to make a motion that the city actually pick up the difference of this here and have it available for the community so we can purchase them and move it forward.
So I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have support on the motion?
Can I clarify what the motion is?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So is it to fund the $6,800?
To fund the $6,800 and whatever is left over from what came from the Historical Commission be given back to them to offset that.
Bicentennial.
Well, because it was the Historical Commission money that was given to the bicentennial.
Oh, okay. So repatriate that, but to the city manager's point, it's not going to be a
Right.
lot.
It's
So
a-
No,
just-
but
it's
it's
a matter of
appropriate,
it's a matter of principle. I understand.
Yeah.
So I'll be happy to support that, and I have a
Yes, okay, so I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson, support by Councilmember Giovanelli. Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you. So prior to this, I was going to suggest perhaps the Ray family book on the Detroit Urban Railroad, and you guys could sponsor it. And is the book? Of course, it hasn't been made yet, and I know the art's a one-time cost, and each run is going to be whatever the run is. Assuming this thing leaves the station and takes off, I'm just kidding. Can resist. I know, right? We're on a roll tonight.
It's catching here.
So, but, and I joke, but so, and I was just asking Rob, I'm sorry for the table talk, but I was trying to get really clear on that. So is it a paperback or is it hard copy?
It's going to be a hardcover book, okay?
Okay, so-
About 283 pages. or
Yeah. So
85.
for the $40, you're going to get a nice hardcover
Yes,
book,
right.
almost coffee table-like
Right.
type thing. Okay, great. And I'm a buyer, so put me down for one. That'd be awesome. So, but my question was with respect to the profits, because I noticed you had on there how that would work out, right? So let's just say it goes crazy, and everybody and their brother's got to have this book. Is the intention that all the funds after the costs are recovered are going to go to historical, or
No,
is it going to come back
it
to
goes
general
back to the
fund?
city.
Okay, all right.
Goes
That's
back
what I
to the
wanted to be
city,
clear on.
right,
So
yeah.
as long as we're clear, I'm happy to support it.
Right.
Councilmember Ray.
Thank you. Yes.
Come on, Ray family. Man, your statue.
I think I was the first one to reserve a copy because I put up the website. But and not to speak on behalf of Mr. Chair, but as my understanding was, the profits would be coming back to the city. I think there was a polite request that if the Historical Commission as a yeah, as like a step two or something, that if it were to that might come as a result of that the funds might be used to further the Historical Commission's charge of documenting the city's history, and that those funds be applied possibly towards a DUR something or a historical something in the good faith and nature of the project.
It's a good idea. Any other comments on the motion? Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem.
So has there been a sponsor? Have we been looking for a sponsor, or is that something? I mean, it would.
I have not personally, or the commission have not personally looked for a sponsor, okay?
Okay.
We've been doing this, the commission has a gentleman who's basically put his last 10 years of his life in putting his book together, okay? And we've been marching down the path to have competition with regards to the bid, and also making sure that we had enough interest out there to make it lucrative to print a quantity of books.
Okay.
So that's where it stands.
All right, well, that would just be one suggestion. That's a possibility. I mean, you never know if there's a lot of historians and people that we can maybe connect with, but that has to be a charge of the Historical Commission, so that would be one of my asks. And is this outside, so our budget is about $50,000 for historical, is this? No.
No.
So that
The
was
Historical
given.
Commission has no pre-funded budget.
Right.
as in
Okay,
the
so
past.
this is just their.
This is the first project that the Historical Commission, outside of the bicentennial efforts, rather than being funded and then asked to go find something, the Historical Commission has packaged this up to
Okay.
bring to council first for funding.
Very good, thank you.
And I'm
Oh, if
sorry,
I could just note,
please,
last
absolutely.
year it was budgeted for 10. Again, that money went right back into the general fund, into our reserves. So that's how we've now drafted it, so that any commission would need to come before council instead of just putting placeholders of 10,000 here, another 5,000 or 6,000 here. We've zeroed those out so that we have a more realistic budget. Once they actually had all of the I's dotted and T's crossed, they would come here.
Very good, thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion?
Yes,
Yes.
Madam Mayor, should we add it to the motion then that any of that funding would go back to the Historical Commission for future?
If that, you're the maker of the motion?
Yes, and I
if
would
you-
like that if,
Councilmember Giovanelli, Councilmember Peterson has made an amendment to her motion.
to
Could you
actually include in it that the dollars that exceed go back into the Historical Commission for further projects. Because that's what,
After the
What happens if it's $1 million, right? So, I
Well,
mean, I'm
it's
just saying, I don't know, I'm just, yeah,
It's only
get
the
to,
book.
get to some point, right? So,
Well, because they want to do the plaque. or
yeah, no, I get
whatever.
it, believe me, and nobody, I mean, we've been super supportive of everything they've done up here. I'd say,
So it doesn't get lost, if that
yeah,
was the
no,
premise.
I know, and I know what you're trying to do. Negotiating on the fly, right? I feel like it's jam night. We're getting jammed with all kinds of requests.
No, that's okay, then
No,
I'll
no,
just,
Yeah, it's not a big.
I get it, and I agree with you. It'd be nice to, I just don't know how we would arrive at it, right? So
I just-
50-50 of the first $5,000 or $10,000 or something like that, I don't know. I'm happy to,
Would you be willing, the maker of the motion, to come back and discuss that at goals and objectives?
I would-
After we
that would be-
see-
that's fine.
Yeah, would
I
that
just
be
want to make
okay?
sure it's
So
on the
I'm
agenda.
looking for a
that-
yes. Absolutely.
that I don't
I
want
thought that was already
lost.
in the original
So
motion.
we're going to keep the original motion and then have task administration to look at the ways that we can further any money that comes in from the book sales.
And
Madam Clerk,
offset-
the roll, please. Offset, thank you.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Giovanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
We got a
Thank
book.
you.
All right, thank you very much.
I was gonna say raise $36,000 to pay for the rest of that other thing we paid for.
So, Mr. City Manager, any other miscellaneous you want to highlight?
I do have a few things. The first, I was able to pull the check register, the specific item that Madam Pro Tem had a question on. The $37,861.47. This is actually our third quarter amount, so it's a quarter, not just a monthly amount. So I just wanted to clarify that that's where that's at. Then just a few others. First, I want to. The next one is I want to congratulate our building inspector Sid Brown, who has just been officially awarded the Building Official of the Year for 2017 by the Home Builders Association of Southeast Michigan and the Apartment Association of Michigan. So again, a big congratulations there. Next, I want to thank our volunteers and staff who've recently participated in the Clinton River cleanup. This was held on September 30th. Again, we've received several emails thanking our DPW for their hard work, as well as the volunteers. So just wanted to note that. As you read in the manager's report, there was an address over in Springview that unfortunately was severely damaged during a fire almost 6 months ago at this point. Our building inspector did recently condemn the building, which now gives the 15-day notice period for condemnation and authorization. So if the owner or the insurance companies do not demolish the building before October 23rd, at the upcoming agenda, we'll be seeking a demolition from council. Yep, is there a question?
Member
Yeah, I just
Govanelli.
want, so it's important that this happened on another property that burned in the city too. It's not that it's foot dragging for 6 months by the city. We have to wait for the insurance investigation process to continue. So when people are looking at these buildings that are burned out and why aren't you doing something, we really can't do anything until, I'm going to go do another one, till the whole process is extinguished. Then you can, right?
Very, very true, and again, with the upcoming weather change, council wanted to make sure, and we've been in touch with the homeowner, the insurance, Attorney Kratzman, have drafted a letter, as well as the homeowners association, and our fire department's actually been out to, spray for hornets and wasps, so we've been trying to do what we can to keep the critters and the bugs and things out. Final two items, our software update on our BSNA, our financial software. Our implementation is on time and under budget. And at our upcoming meeting, our finance director will be providing council with a little bit more information. The final item is I'm going to be asking council for an additional meeting to talk about our city-owned buildings. In talking with our public works director and our deputy manager and myself today, we really need city's input on what city is actually, which each council member is seeking at this point, so that we can have basically a greater discussion during our goals and objective. There's several buildings that are going to take quite a bit of time from the public works, really the whole campus over there, as well as the community house. And what are we looking at for other assets here as we come forward with recommendations. So staff will be sending out an email asking for some dates, but we feel an additional meeting specifically on that is warranted.
Thank you.
I have a question
Yes,
on it.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So that's supposed to be coming up on an upcoming agenda, so are we trying to get the input before the 23rd, or tell me what the thought
Yeah,
is?
so so looking at our agendas going forward, it would be after the 23rd, but I'm shooting, between the 23rd and probably, early November. We don't want to, push this too far. However, it's just going to be an agenda item that might, take us 2.5 hours to go through. So it's really warranting a full special agenda.
So I'm just going to
Yeah.
clarify. So what you're saying is it won't be necessarily on this
Correct.
item. It's going to be requested to do a separate meeting.
Correct. It wouldn't be on October 23rd. It
Thank
would be on another one that would be after the 23rd.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So I would really love to have at least the inventory and receive a report, something basic, so then we can then jump into the meeting with some kind of something. I mean, I don't know because it's so hard when you get a packet and you have 3 days to digest what we're trying to do. And so I don't know if that's if you just need more time to do that report, or Shannon's shaking her head. We've been so tell me what's...
Yeah, Shane, if you want to come up and I can kind of elaborate, as we had a pretty fruitful discussion this morning. What I think we're really looking for is council input so that we can actually put together something that's meaningful, so then during goals and objectives we can actually start to be budgeting for this going forward.
Okay.
Yeah. We started out with a discussion when I first came here on the DPW needs assessment. That quickly morphed into, hey, we've got all these other properties. What have we been doing with these? What's the maintenance plan? How much money is it going to cost? How are you going to phase that in? How is that all going to be scheduled? And then it morphed into even more discussions on what properties should the city be keeping, which ones should we be considering getting rid of. and then that moves into alleyways. What alleyways should we be keeping and getting rid of? And now you're talking about this much larger scale asset management plan for all of your facilities. And I think from my perspective, I need a little more guidance and direction from City Council on what you're looking for as an end result, end goal report, so that you have all of the necessary information in front of you to make a decision. So I was surprised that the city doesn't have, I'm used to work sessions in other municipalities that I've worked for where we can sit down and have a dialogue and a back and forth discussion, so we can throw some ideas out and say, well, I've got this, I've got that, and get some input back and forth from the elected officials. It doesn't seem that is a mechanism that you guys utilize here. And so in order for me to get that input, I really think just sitting down and having a discussion. I wasn't really looking at putting together a report because I'm looking for direction from you guys on what you want to see in it. I want to give you some ideas, give you some information on what I know at this point, and then see where you'd like me to take it from there.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So basically, what I'm looking for next meeting, if we can have it, is the city owns these alleys, the city owns these properties, the city owns these buildings, so that we can get our head around what we have before we go into that discussion. I mean, if we just have do we have an inventory list?
Well, we had the inventory list for the meeting in June.
But the alleys weren't on there.
No,
and
the alleys were not
properties
on there, and I can add those and the other properties we can search as well.
There was buildings on there, but that was it. We had no other city-owned. And there's a lot of little pieces
Yes.
that I would like to have all in one report, so then we can have a good discussion.
Basically, an inventory list that includes the alleyways
Just
and the other
everything
properties
yes.
that we own. Certainly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Oh, and if I could add to it, we'll add a map just so that everybody, and then when we do have the discussion, that can be pulled up here so everybody can see it.
Thank you. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
I'm sure we'll get into this in excruciating detail at the meeting. I would only submit that the alleys and roads is a whole other infrastructure plan, right? We have a map of all that. What I'm most interested in discussing at this meeting, and I won't be here for goals and objectives to carry that through, however, is we received the DPW needs assessment report. It had two potential projects, right? Two potential revisions to that facility that were, forgive me, I don't remember the numbers, north of 5 million, reaching.
One was 8 and one was 10.
I was going to say, one was certainly in the neighborhood of $10 million. I think we pretty clearly asked for something that wasn't 8 or 10 million bucks. And so going into that meeting, I'd like to have at least some rough cut at what you think some ballpark estimate of a reasonable way forward that isn't 8 or 10 million dollars.
And I'm not prepared to provide that at this point. Honestly, with the other workload that we've had with your grants and your other asset management plans, that's not something I've been able to dedicate time to. It begins the question of what's the chicken or the egg? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? The budget that you want to work with for the facility, or what's the facility's true needs?
Well, what I don't want to do is worrying about spending $600,000 at Dinosaur Hill or Community House ahead of addressing this issue.
Right.
So,
A priority.
I'm not against a meeting that says, okay, here's everything we got, here's what we know for those properties today. Oh, by the way, we have a big bogey out there for DPW. I don't know, I don't know that we're going to be able to give you the kind of input that you want for creating a budget before putting DPW at the top of that list.
Right.
I mean, at least that's my feeling on it, but
My understanding is prior to my starting
I've
here,
got 2.1 meetings to go.
prior to my starting here, you had some discussions about how do you fund that repair or improvement at the DPW facility. And while you're looking at that, what other facilities do we have that we need to maintain and repair, and or should we even be keeping them? So rolling it all together in one package of here's what you need for the DPW if bonding is that issue, or if we're saving up over so much money per year to try and fund that mechanism, what other things need to take place, what's that budget number need to look like? That's a pretty in-depth report But it was my understanding that you were looking to try and pull those all together at one. You didn't want to go out and say, hey, let's bond for repair to the DPW and we'll set it at this range, and then find out you have to do other repairs that you may have to bond for, or you may want to be rolling it all together in what you bond for the road improvements as well. So it's all in one place.
Did you?
What I'm trying to convey inartfully is that I don't think there's a lot of appetite for an $8 or $10 million plan up here, but I think there is an appetite for, addressing the substantial needs of the DPW department. I don't think that we need a working financial pro forma on how to fund it down to the last, $50,000 to say, hey, look, here's a plan C. We think it's probably in this range, right? And we think we could do it over, a certain year time frame, whether it's 1, 3, or 5, and here's probably what we would want to do first. And here's a really rough cut at what that might cost. Just so there's some baby steps along the way of trying to contextualize the balance of these discussions on what's happening at these other properties. So I know you're a planner, I know you're a detail person, but I'm asking, is there a way to do this on 2 or 3 sheets of paper that takes it up 5 or 6 levels? It's just a start.
That's exactly why I wanted to have the conversation. In having conversations with multiple members on this council, some of you are looking for this elevation, some of you are looking for this elevation. Some want a little bit of detail, 3 pages. Others want to see the detailed everything all together in one package. And that's where it's very difficult for me to try and prepare something to present for you when I've got 7 people that want 7 different things. So by having a meeting for us to sit, air our questions, air our concerns, have that open discussion, and walk out of that meeting with a clear and defined understanding of what it is you want to have me present to this council, it would be extremely helpful for me.
I also
Planning to plan.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I also think, going back to the other discussion, having a council that tells you what everybody has input on those other buildings, because we've already started that discussion. I think we're on a good foot moving forward on that. So I think that's part of it, because if we decide that we don't want to do these other projects because it's going to help the DPW one,
Right.
So I hope you have some good information.
I will bring my best.
Yeah, I think planning to plan is really what we're looking for, and I think by October 23rd we can have the inventory so that we can take that first step, and then we can start building step by step here as we move forward towards goals and objectives.
Thank you. Anything else?
All I had.
Mr. Deputy City Manager.
I do have one thing, and Blaine and I have been like this today, so late breaking news. So tomorrow you're probably going to see some work in the library, which is finally, drum roll, implementation of the next phase of Paint Creek. So we've got with the library, we met with them, we got all the documentation, Shannon's got everything she needs. The DEQ has been wonderful to work with. We have 2 grants, and it was to go for 999 feet from the Paint Creek Bridge to the curve on the library. This is a little different than the park, that we're not going to clear cut that beautiful wooded side across from the library. This is river work. It's in the river, so we're going to cut 2 slots into the bank, one where there's a big dead box elder and one where there's little bushes to push the rocks down on one end, the logs down here. They're going to minimize the impact on the library parking lot for 5 hours a day. They'll take 7 spaces at one end, 2 at the other end. The library has been great to work with. Get in the river, and Ross Jackson was the low bid guy who did the river park, and off he goes. And in about 2 or 3 weeks, he can get the cross veins in. There's extra little waterfalls built up by the Paint Creek bridge. You know what Ms. Russell wants to know? Yes, we're going to work on that under this. And then the third grant that we got was to deal with fish passage at the slide down by the Royal Park Bridge where the old railroad used to go. So DEQ wanted that removed, and we fought and said that's kind of part of our history. It's kind of cool. It's the old mill run. So they're going to let us cut a slot in it to get the fish up to the right side, put big boulders by it, saved a lot of money that they're letting us take to work upstream. So you're going to see work start on that probably tomorrow. And we're very excited. It's been since 2013 that they've been trying to get this going. We finally got it going, so that's
a big,
really good
And a
news.
big thank you again to the library
Absolutely.
who's been,
Their staff's been
great
great.
along, and the staff.
Yep.
So.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Will this close any pathways or anything, just because it's on the river?
They'll have,
Very good.
literally, they're going to cross over. They'll have a flagman. There's only 2 people to make sure while they're sliding the stuff down, minimal impact.
Okay, very good, thanks.
Madam Clerk.
Just one thing, tomorrow, Tuesday, October 10th, is the close of registration, so if you're not registered to vote and want to vote in November, you should need to get registered, and we'll be opening at 5.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney.
Nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Bixon.
Yeah, a couple quick things. Apologize for being late. I had parent-teacher conferences. I implore them not to do stuff on Monday night, but they do it anyway. And then just Sunday, it was beautiful weather, Sunday afternoon, and I was downtown, and the downtown was really booming with people. Walnut Street, Main Street, and the bike shop was open and was full of people, and some of the other, and it's too bad. I know we've talked about this for years and years and years. Businesses can't be open because I think they could really be successful. I know every business is private, but maybe something to talk to the DDA about is just hope maybe they get some more business open, because I think it seems busier than ever, so I think it really could be successful on Sunday.
I'll
Thank you.
just make a side note that they've added a late night Thursdays promotion, and it's going quite well, so maybe the next one would be something on a Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ray.
Yes, just a couple of things. I have to lead with the absolute most important. It is that time of year again for the City of Rochester's most awesome spaghetti dinner to be hosted at the Rochester Fire Department. The Raya annual Halloween Spaghetti Dinner fundraiser is on Saturday the 21st. It's a suite of events that start with sweet. You like that? Trick or treating, Helen. That starts, it starts with trick or treating downtown for the kids and I guess the parents from 3:30 to 5. Then at 5:15 starts the Halloween parade, right? That the fire department leads, which segues to the spaghetti dinner at the fire station, which again this year there will be a gluten-free option. So if you're gluten intolerant, please make sure to ask. The fire department will provide. The spaghetti dinner runs from 4:30 to 7, but leads into the dinner and a date aspect of this year's event, because the PSD is also doing a Movies in the Moonlight across in the farmers market starting at 6:30, which will feature the Lego Batman movie. So we have basically everything to keep a family busy from 3:30 to after 7 in the city downtown. If you stop by the spaghetti dinner, make sure to stop by and say hi. I'll be chairing that event. Another is just to wish a happy, I'm sure the council shares in this sentiment, but through the Historical Commission, to wish Gail Kamler a very happy 100th birthday. That's pretty awesome. And then a friendly reminder to the candidate. I don't think there's anything else on the ballot this fall, but candidates that signs should just not be in the right of way. And my most favorite aspect of the campaign sign law is that no sign should be outside polling locations before midnight, the night before the election. That's always a fun one to observe. So just a reminder. And lastly, OU football is still undefeated, 4-0. They got a 19-0 streak. And homecoming is this Saturday, the 14th. So all my Pioneers and my Grizzlies, make sure to show up. And the hockey club, the hockey team is 5-1. I believe they play on ice, but they're on fire. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Giovanelli.
Really?
Yes,
No,
it's
I
your
have
turn.
nothing. I'm good. Thank you.
Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Pass.
Councilmember Peterson.
Just a couple things. One, the traffic on Parkdale, I noticed that the speed sign does not appear to be working, and that's the one that's coming into town. and how fast the people are going on Parkdale there, and also still large trucks are coming down, so if we can really get some patrols over there, that would be nice. People are not feeling safe over there. And then I'm the director at the North Oakland County Board of Realtors, and I wanted to announce that we learned today that our Realtor to the Rescue program that's in conjunction with the Oakland County Treasurer's Office, which helps keep homeowners in homes in the hands of homeowners and not the investors during the tax sale, was listed as one of the top 100 innovative programs in government by the National Association of Counties, and the best in category for community and economic development. So that was quite awesome.
Anything else?
Yes, the national flood insurance was extended for another 3 months, and they're hoping to get a national extension for 5 years, but they are working on that, which is very important with all the hurricanes that have been happening. And also, anyone who has any vacation rentals in the state of Michigan, you need to be paying attention to Senate Bill 329 and House Bill 4923, as they're trying to make changes to where you're not allowed to do that anymore. So it's going to affect a lot of homeowners in our state. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, just happy birthday to Gail. And did we do a proclamation or a resolution?
We did
for
do
that.
one,
Okay.
actually.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's it.
I just have 2 items. One is not this past Saturday, the Saturday before, PLE, which is the Professional Law Enforcement Association, awarded Officer Knight, actually kit with a vest. It was a wonderful event. They had a run. I got to meet his family, his wife and children, and his grandparents, so it was a very nice, well-attended event. So I want to thank them for their contribution to Kit's Vest. Next, I want to thank the fire department and the police department. I had an incident in my home Thursday night, and it should be noted, and I think this is important, that the police came.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that I don't tell people my position on council. The police came. The electrical wire was down. A very large part of the tree fell into our backyard, took out our porch and the kitchen roof. And then the fire chief came. Didn't know it was me till he came to take care of it. And the fire department came and put a tarp up over the roof, and everybody worked professional. They were there for 3 hours. So I just want to I made cookies, and I'm dropping them off tomorrow morning. I just want to thank them for I really know how important it is. I was teasing them that night, but we live in a really good community, and I don't think I would have felt so at ease if I didn't have the police and the fire there to help us that night. So,
And the wood went to a good home.
yes, and they cut the tree up nice, and Councilmember Councilmember Giovanelli was right there to get the wood. So
It'll be
he's
falling into a
promised me
smoker
some
near
smoke.
you sometime soon. So,
So,
maybe some brisket, a little bit of pork shoulder. All good.
So any other miscellaneous public comment this evening? Meeting adjourned.